Hi, welcome again. In this video, you are going to learn about part third of topic reproduction in lower and higher plants. Here, you are going to study what is meant by pollination, what are the types of pollination, and what are the agents which are responsible to carry the pollination and outbreeding devices. So first of all, let us see what is meant by pollination. As up to now you have studied, there is development of male gametophyte and female gametophyte, as the male gametes are nothing but the germinated pollen grain is not motile by itself, it is non-motile, and hence it must be carried to female gametophyte for fertilization purpose by another agencies. Okay, and this transfer is said to be the pollination, means transfer of pollen grains from anther to the receptive stigma is called as pollination. And already I have told, pollen grains are non-motile and hence they must be transferred by another agents. Okay, so let us see what are the types of pollination. There are mainly two types of pollination: self-pollination and cross-pollination. What is meant by self-pollination? Self-pollination is nothing but a type of pollination in which the transfer of pollen grains to the stigma is taking place within a same flower or different flower on same plant. Okay, so it results in inbreeding or selfing. And what is meant by cross pollination? Cross pollination is nothing but transfer of pollen grains from anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower on different plant, not on same, but here it is different plant but of same species. That is said to be the cross pollination. So on basis of source of pollination, it can be further divided into three types. One is autogamy, that is nothing but self-pollination, which is only concerned with the pollination which is taking place within a single flower or same flower. Second type is geitonogamy, where there is transfer of pollen grains from one flower to another flower on same plant. And third type is xenogamy, that is cross pollination, or it is also said to be the outbreeding. Okay, so let us study one by one in details. First, autogamy, that is nothing but self pollination. So this type of pollination is taking place in bisexual flower, in which the transfer of pollen grains is taking place from androecium to the gynoecium, that is on the stigma of same flower. That is, all pollen grains get pollinated, and hence as there is a transfer of same gametes, there will be union of same female and same male gametes of single parent, and thus the offsprings which are produced are genetically identical. For example, such type of pollination is observed in pea. So various structural adaptations are there in autogamy. So what are the adaptations? Let us see. First adaptation is chasmogamous flower. Okay, so what is meant by chasmogamous flower? The flower opens to expose its 6 organs. It is called as chasmogamous. Okay. Next adaptation is homogamy, when anther and stigma of flower becomes mature at same time. That is said to be the homogamy. They mature at the same time. Next adaptation is nothing but cleistogamy. So let us see. Some flowers are self-pollinated even before opening, means without opening they start pollination or they pollinated. Such adaptation is called as pleistogamy. So these are the structural adaptation to carry autogamy. Even some flowers which are grown underground also shows the adaptation, that is pleistogamy type of adaptation. The example is Commelina bengalensis. Even plants like viola, Commelina can produce both chasmogamous as well as pleistogamy flowers on same plant. Next, second type is nothing but geitonogamy. So already I have told you, geitonogamy means nothing but transfer of pollen grain to the receptive stigma of different flower produced on same plant. Means on same plant it is taking place between the two flowers. It is functionally similar to cross pollination as it involves pollinating agent. Okay, self pollination doesn't require any pollinating agent, but to transfer pollen grains from one flower to another flower of same plant requires pollinating agent, but it cannot bring genetic variations, and hence it is not involving any significant role in evolution. Okay, example is Cucurbita maxima. So third type is xenogamy. Xenogamy is nothing but cross pollination, or it is also nothing but outbreeding. What is meant by cross pollination or xenogamy? It is nothing but transfer of pollen grains from one flower to another flower which is present on another plant of same species, and it takes place by pollinating agent. So here you can define like this: it is a type of cross pollination when pollen grain of one flower is deposited on stigma of flower on different plant belonging to same species. That is nothing but xenogamy. So it brings genetically variation, and hence it produces genetically varied offsprings. Majority of flowering plants depend on transfer of pollen grains. That's why these virtually all seed needs to pollinated. Most of the food and fiber crops grown throughout the world depend upon pollinators. So to carry pollen grains from one or from you can say anther to the stigma, it requires pollinating agent. Already I have told you. So there are two types of agent, or the agent category are two. One is nothing but abiotic agent, which are nothing but non-living things, and second type is nothing but biotic agent. It means living things, living organisms, that is birds, insects, snails, snakes, etc. So in details we are going to study abiotic agents. These are the non-living agents which are responsible to carry pollen grains to the stigma, and it includes wind, water. So let us see first, that is pollination by wind. How the pollination by wind is taking place? This pollination is said to be the anemophily. It is transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma by wind is called as anemophily, and the plant is said to be anemophilous plant. It is most primitive type of pollination which is taking place in wheat, rice, corn, rye, barley, oats, etc. Even the palms are also wind pollinated plant. So to carry the pollination by wind, these plants get adapted and they show a special structural features like this. Let us see what are the adaptations in anemophilous flower. So here you can see the diagram or the photo of maize plant, which is anemophilous plant. The flowers are small, inconspicuous, colorless, without nectar or fragrance. Means they don't have fragrance or nectar, as they don't need any pollinating agent which is living. That's why nectar and fragrance are not present. Even the flowers are small and inconspicuous, म्हणजे उठावदार नसणारे, ठळक नसणारे, म्हणजेच इनकॉन्स्पिक्युअस. Pollen grains are light in weight so as to easily carry by the wind current. They are dry and produced in large numbers, as there are chances of wastage of pollen grains. That's why the numbers are large. And here the stigma is feathery in order to trap the pollen grains carried by wind currents. Stamens are exerted with long filaments. They show the presence of long filaments so as to become, or so as to make it as a versatile anthers. And both, means stamens and stigmas, both are exposed to air currents so as to transfer easily. So they can trap in wind currents easily. They are exposed to air currents. Next is nothing but pollination by water. That is nothing but hydrophily. It is nothing but transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma by water. It's called hydrophily, and the plants are said to be the hydrophilous plants. 30 genera of aquatic monocots are nothing but hydrophilous plants. For example, in Vallisneria, Zostera, Ceratophyllum, etc. So, what are the adaptations in such hydrophilous flowers or plants? The flowers are again small and inconspicuous. Okay, and they should not be wetted by water. That's why the perianth or the other floral parts are unwettable. Okay. Next, the adaptation is shown in pollen grains. They are long and unwettable, as they show the presence of mucilage. They are again without nectar and fragrance. Hydrophily is of two types. One is hypohydrophily, another one is epihydrophily. Hypohydrophily means the pollination which is taking place below surface of water, and epihydrophily means the pollination which is taking place above surface of water or on the surface of water. So according to that, the adaptations are found in such plants. In hypohydrophily, pollen grains are heavier than the water so that they can sink down and caught easily by stigmas of female flowers. That is in Zostera, the seagrass, the pollen grains are long, ribbon-like and without exine. Why they are without exine? So as to flow properly and they get sink on the stigmas of female flowers. Next is epihydrophily. Here the pollen grains are floating on water surface so as to reach the stigma of female flower. Specific gravity of such pollen grains is equal to the water. That's why they are floating easily on surface of water, and that is found in, for example, in Vallisneria. It is a submerged dioecious plant, freshwater aquatic plant, in which female flowers reach the water surface. Here you can see in diagram, female flowers. These are the female flowers. They reach easily on surface of water so that the stigma will be in contact with the floating pollen grains of female male flowers, and these are the male flowers which are releasing their pollen grains. So like this. Some aquatic plants are even anemophilous, that is Potamogeton, Halocaris, etc. Even some of aquatic plants are entomophilous, that is lotus, water lily, etc. So let us see in details about biotic agents. Biotic agents are nothing but the living organisms which are responsible for transfer of pollen grains, and 80% of plant require the help of other living creature or organisms for the transfer of pollen grains, such as insect, birds, bats, snails, snakes, etc. So let us see the pollination taking place by insect, that is said to be the entomophily. It is the transfer of pollen grain from anther to the stigma by insect is called as entomophily, and the flowers or the plants are said to be the entomophilous. For example, in jasmine, rose, cestrum, etc. Or you can say in sunflower also. So what are the adaptations in such entomophilous flowers? Let us see. The flowers are large, showy, and often brightly colored so as to attract insect. They are having bright color, they are showy and large. They also produce sweet odor, smell, that is sweet smell, and they show the presence of nectar glands. To get the nectar, the insects are visiting flower. Stigma is rough due to presence of hair or sticky. The sticky stigma is due to the secretion of mucilage, and pollen grains are spiny, surrounded by a sticky substance called as pollen kit, so that they can be easily sticked to the various parts of insect, so that it can be carried easily. Even some plants have special adaptations for insect pollination. That is, in salvia, there is lever mechanism, or it is also said to be the turnpipe mechanism. Here in diagram you can see turnpipe mechanism or lever mechanism, specially adaptation to carry pollination by insect, that is entomophilous flower. Next type of pollination, that is nothing but pollination by birds, ornithophily. It is nothing but transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma by birds is called as ornithophily, and few types of birds are responsible to carry such type of pollination. Here they are small sized and long beaks. Okay, so the birds show small size so that they can easily sit on flowers, or they can easily collect the nectar from flower, and they show the presence of long beaks. For example, sunbirds, hummingbirds. Some ornithophilous plants are nothing but the bombax, callistemon, butea. So let us see what are the adaptations in ornithophilous flowers. Flowers are usually bright colored, large and showy so as to attract birds. They secrete profuse and diluted nectar so as to again attract birds. The pollen grains are sticky and spiny so as to easily stick to the beaks or the parts of bird. Flowers are generally without fragrance because as the birds, they don't have that much sense of smell, or they have poor sense of smell. And this is nothing but pollination by bat. It is called as Chiropterophily. Definition: it is transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma by bats. It's called as chiropterophily, and the flower or the plant is said to be the chiropterophilic flower, and plant is called as the Chiropterophilus plant. Bats can transport pollens over long distance, even through several kilometers. So what are the adaptation in such flowers? Dull colored with strong fragrance. As they have strong smelling sense, the fragrance here is strong. It secretes abundant nectar, and they are producing a large amount of edible pollen grains. So as to eat that pollen grains and so as to eat the nectar, bats are visiting to such flowers, and the examples are nothing but kadamba tree, baobab tree, sausage tree. So cross pollination is bringing the benefit in evolution, as there is crossing between the genes which results into the evolution. Most of the plants produces outbreeding devices or cross-pollinating devices to avoid inbreeding depression and to enhance genetic diversity. Okay, and such genetic diversity is essential factor for evolution by natural selection. So let us see what are the outbreeding devices. First one is unisexuality. So the plant bears either male and female flowers. That is said to be the dioecium, which results into cross-pollination. Okay. Even the plants are dioecious, which results into the, you can say, transfer from one flower to the another flower. And even when the plants are nothing but whole plant is male plant or whole plant is female plant, then they need to transfer or need to carry the cross pollination. Next device is dichogamy. Here in this device, what happens? Anthers and stigma, they both become mature at different time. Even the flower is bisexual, as the stigma and anther, they are not becoming mature at a time. They has to transfer the pollen grains on a different flower, which results into cross pollination, that is outbreeding devices. So here are two types of dichogamy. One is protandry, another one is protogamy. So what is meant by protandry? Protandry is nothing but androecium matures earlier than gynoecium. That is nothing but protandry. Earlier maturity of androecium, which is taking place in disc florets of sunflower. Next type is nothing but protogamy, that is earlier maturity of gynoecium. Gynoeciums get matured earlier than androecium. For example, in gloriosa. Here in diagram you can see, here in photograph you can see both sunflower, gloriosa. Prepotency. Next one is prepotency. Prepotency means what? Pollen grains of other flowers germinate rapidly over the stigma than the pollen grains from the same flower. If there is pollination taking place within same flower or the different flower on same plant, but self pollen grains will not mature earlier or they will not germinate, but the other pollen grains will germinate rapidly. Such device is called as prepotency, which is taking place in apple. Next type is heterostyly or heteromorphy. So here what happens? The mechanical structure of anther and stigma are placed at different levels to avoid self-pollination. That is said to be the heteromorphy, which is found in primrose. Okay, which brings or which makes difficult to reach stigma. Pollen grains can't reach stigma. In heteromorphic flower, pollen grains produced from anther, pollinate stigmas produced at the same level. Next is herpogamy. This is a mechanical device to prevent self-pollination in bisexual flowers. In plants, natural physical barrier is present between the sex organs which avoid the contact of pollen and stigma of same flower. That is, in a Calotropis, pentagular stigma is positioned above to the anther level, which makes difficult the transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma, as stigma is placed above to the anther. Next is self-incompatibility, that is self-sterility. So this is the genetic mechanism in which the germination in between the same flower is inhibited. That is nothing but in tobacco and thea. Thanks.